Okay, Connie Mason, and I'm demonstrating standing pose and inversion adjustments, standing balance pose and inversion adjustments with Martin. So Martin, if you would turn sideways onto the mat, please, to face the wall. Thank you. And the first pose that we're going to do is Vrikshasana or tree pose, and it's a long haul pose. So before Mark comes into pose, I'm going to place my hands firmly on his hairline to steady him and give him balance. And at this point, Mart, I ask you to lift your left foot up and place it where you're comfortable, which I think is going to be on your calf, and take your hands into prayer. And I'm going to support you in the pose while you open your left knee to the side as much as is comfortable, and continue to breathe. So if you'd now like to lower your hands and lower the leg. Thank you. So the next pose that we're going to do is a dancer pose. So just staying where you are, please, Mart. And if you could raise your right arm and take hold of your left ankle with your left hand. This ankle down. Okay. So at this point, there's no. I'm just supporting Mart in the pose and placing my other hand on under the ankle. And at this point, I'm going to lift up. And you might like to come into the pose a little bit more, bending forward, Mart, and lifting. I'm going to lift both his ankle and also his hand. Okay, so as we come out of the pose, if you take your foot down to the floor and lower down. Okay. So the next pose we have is half moon, so our very improvised block. So if you turn to the side, please, to face the front of the room, and taking your hands out wide, and then coming down into half moon pose. So I'm going to place my hip against Mart's for stability, and you're going to raise your left leg. And I'm going to use a clenched fist against his hips to bring them around and perhaps open the ribs a little bit more. You can raise the arm up and look up, please, Mart. And if it's available to you, raise that left leg just a little bit more. Very good. Okay, so now taking your left hand down to the block. When you're stable, lowering the leg and coming up to standing. So we're now going to do a shoulder stand, but Mart's very new at this, so I'm just going to take him to the early stages of the shoulder stand. So if you could come into, please come into Balasana or child's pose. Now, clasp the hands in front of the body with the palms together so that you've got a nice stable triangle to take the weight of the body, because we don't want weight on the head. This part of your spine is very fragile. So just coming forward a little bit with your body and taking the crown of the head to the floor so that it touches the butt of your hands. So if you're able to just lift that crown towards the floor more, please, Mark. And just now lift the head and the shoulders off the floor. Now, Mark's able to do this, and it's good exercise to build the shoulder strength. So if you can place it up and down a couple of times, lifting the head up and down. So now I would take Martin into a downward dog pose, just as a further step towards the full posture. Okay, and if you could also at this point, Mark, lift up the head and the shoulders off the ground and lowering them down, which tells me that he is taking the weight on his hands and not on the back of his neck. Okay. So that's as far as I would take him at this point in time. If you could take your knees back to the ground, please, Martin. Come into child's pose. Take the buttocks to the heels, extend the arms and rest in child's pose so that you aren't giddy when you stand up. Thank you.